Yes, a litany of data points. I'm going to catch my breath here. Here we go. On initial jobless claims, exactly as expected, 205,000. And until I see revision, that's down 1,000 from last week's 206,000. It's not a post-COVID low. 188,000 from a few weeks ago is, and that was the lowest level since 1969. Continuing claims, though, has made a new post-COVID low. And that is 1,859,000. I take that back. Last week, 1,845,000. This week, 1,859,000. But here's why I said that. Because last week just got ramped up to 1,867,000 on the revision. So this week does stand as the post-COVID low. Now let's get into some real important data. On the personal income side for November, up 0.4, exactly as expected. Some may say, of course, that this number needs to go up a bit, and I think it's going to be. On the spending side, up 0.6 as expected. And last month, it was more than double that, and it was 1.3 now at 1.4. We all know what's going on here, that many spent early for the holidays, a little worried about supply shortages. On the inflation side, some of the Fed's favorite inflation numbers here, personal consumption expenditure, PCE deflator, month over month, up 0.6. Last month was changed to up 0.7. These are the hottest numbers going all the way back to 2008. And if we look at a year over year on that number, well, it is up. It is up 5.7. Yes, 5.7. And 5.7 follows an upwardly revised 5.1. That takes us to 1982 since we've seen a number that large. Now let's look at core deflators. Personal consumption expenditure, core deflators, month over month. Means we strip out food and energy. And that number is up 0.5%, up 0.5%. And that follows another up 0.5%. These numbers go back to about 2000, let's see, about 2001. And finally, with the final inflation numbers year over year up 4.7. That really is hot. Once again, that takes us back into the 80s. Let's look at durable good orders. Up 2.5. This might be one of the biggest surprises thus far outside of inflation. We're expecting a number under 2%. This is preliminary November. It could change, but it's a powerful number. And last month, the minus 0.4 gets revised to a final read of up 0.1. We take the minus sign away. Take out transportation, the number falls off rather dramatically, only up 0.8. And if you strip out transportation and look at the orders and shipment side, we have capital goods orders, non-defense ex-aircraft. That's a proxy for business capital investment spending. That's down 0.1. That is not good. 0.1 is not good. Last month, though, was really quite spectacular. Moved from up 0.7 to up 0.9. Year-over-year numbers are still powerful, but everything starts with a rate of change. Not a good number. We'll see if it's revised away on the final. And finally, if we switch from orders to shipments, it's up half what we expected, up 0.3. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, considering the world and the supply issues we are contending with. Now, after all of that, we're hovering at 1.46 in tens. Actually, European yields seem to be snugging up a little more aggressively than U.S. yields. Bund yields are up for the fourth straight session, meaning they're getting smaller, less negative, and they're at a one-month high. Joe, I'm out of breath. I hope we covered that adequately. Back to you.
Yeah, that's why the 10 years not doing much, because it has no idea what to do after all that, Rick. It'd have to be a supercomputer. Thank you. Steve Leisman joins us now. Speaking of supercomputers, Rick did a great job, Steve. You've had some more time than Rick had on the fly.
Yeah.
What's in there that
the really, longer he goes.
Yeah. Well, what caught your attention?
The longer he goes, the more time I get. Nobody does it better than Rick does especially with a big data download like that. He uses
revisions, everything. Yeah, agreed.
It's amazing. It's amazing. But let me just very quickly. What I was focused on when Rick was talking were the real numbers, and the real numbers are not that impressive when it comes to spending and when it comes to income. Let me just go find it real quick. And what you find is that income, when you take out inflation, is down 0.2. That's not as bad as the 0.3 the prior month, but it's still negative because you get your income You take away the inflation, you end up down 0.2. Also, the spending, personal consumption expenditures, you take out inflation, you end up at 0. So, again, that's inflation taking a bite out of all of this. I don't mind the durable numbers. As Rick said, we had a very strong several prior months here, and I'm seeing a little bit of movement on the auto parts side. We knew Boeing had a big month. Really watching what's happening with auto manufacturing, auto production, to try to see if we can get ahead of what's happening. If you're going to have a decline or a peaking of inflation, you got to get the auto sector back in line. And that's a big part of this right now, what's happening. The conversation that I'm reading among economists is not inflation high this month or next month. It's the talk about the peak, Joe. And what we're hearing is what people are saying is probably February. Things are going to get worse until February, and we're looking for some kind of peak in March, and whether or not things start to trail off back then as the production system gets back into place. And we'll see if we can start to make some, I don't know, leveling off here. Rick is right. We keep taking out old records from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and we're looking for a peak hopefully early next year.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.